$1.5 million from Blanks Foundation. The grants are part of the NFL's new HBCU Field Refurbishment Program. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I need your dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get it. Hey!
Darkest of night with the moon shining bright. There's a set going strong, a lot of things going on. The man of the hour has an air of great power. The dudes have envied him for so long.
That sounds like Curtis Mayfield, Chicago's own. We've been having good reason to play some of the best of Chicago all week long here. Why not? So many great artists from Chicago. I've said many times, with all due respect to all the other great cities in America, including the one I live in, L.A., it's hard to beat Chicago for a soundtrack. Everybody named Mama is from Chicago. We pick any genre, gospel, hip-hop, R&B, blues. You can't fade Chicago when it comes to the soundtrack of our lives. I am honored now to be joined by Representative Justin J. Pearson. He said, Tavis, don't forget the J. My grandmother gave that to me. Justin J. Pearson, you recall those two Justins in Tennessee who were pushed out, and these suckers came roaring back. These two brothers came roaring back, and I tell you, I was so, like all the rest of you, so proud of them for their courage, their conviction, their commitment, their character, for standing their ground. And we're so honored to have them back in the State House in Tennessee, and I'm honored now to have. And if you're just as radio and you can't see, and if you can't distinctly remember the two Justins, one of them has the ponytail and one has the afro. This is the afro. This is Justin J. Pearson, the one with the afro. Now you know who I'm talking to, right? Everybody say amen. Amen. They know who I'm talking about. Representative Pearson, an honor, sir, to have you on this program.
It is an honor to be here with you. I appreciate you immensely.
No, man, it's great. It's great to see you. For those, it's been, how long has it been now since you all went back into the State House?
We won our August 3rd of last year. So about a year ago, we won our general elections again.
Yeah. And what's it been like being back?
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans haven't changed much.
Yeah.
I think white supremacy and racism too often guides the decision making, that they are not listening to the cries of the people who want to see red flag laws and who want to see us do something about a gun violence epidemic that in my community, in my district, we're experiencing almost every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do know is happening is the movement for justice rooted in love is growing, that more people are showing up to the state capitol than ever before. More people are going to committee rooms. More people are sitting in the galleries. More people are fighting back than have ever fought back before. And that resistance in Tennessee, showing up in this way at this time, that is new. But it comes from a very old tradition that we are invigorating in this moment.
You said something a moment ago that just hit me in my heart, brother. And I have a very bright audience all across the country. So they hear, I'm teaching and training them to listen carefully, to listen generously, to listen charitably, to don't let words just slide past you. You just said a movement rooted in love. Did I hear you say that?
Yes.
Man, you made me think about Cornel West. Speaking of afros, Cornel West, because that's his thing about a pushback about a commitment, about immutable principles that are rooted in love.
That's right.
But politicians these days don't talk about anything being rooted in love. Talk to me about that.
That's
man.
absolutely right, because you got literally an entire ex-president of the United States running for president of the United States who's all about hate, all about division, all about divisiveness, all about how you don't need to like the other person. You need to think they're the worst thing that ever happened in the world. When what we really need is a love ethic that says it's because I love you despite all those other things, including I love the people who expelled me so much that I don't want their children to die from gun violence. I want their children to breathe clean air, have clean water, be able to plant in clean soil. I love you so much that I believe you deserve to have housing, and that shouldn't just be something for the privileged, but that's a right. I believe you and your family deserve to have health care, and 300,000 people in our state currently do not because we refuse to expand Medicaid. Love makes you do things for everybody despite what the individual principalities or individual identities of the folks who are resisting you are going to do. But what we have now is folks who paint you in one broad stroke, and they say, well, this is all of who you are, and so I'm going to hate all of that. And not realize that, y'all, we have to get together, we have to be together, we have to fight together, because it is so true, right? We are either going to all learn how to get along, all learn how to love together, all learn how to be together, or we're all going to continue to suffer together.
That's it. I said on this program yesterday that love for me, that love ethic you're talking about, means for me simply that everybody is worthy just because.
Just because.
Everybody's somebody's child. Everybody's somebody's kid. I don't care about how many degrees you have, your pedigree, where you live, what your last name is, how much money you make. Everybody is a child of God, and we're all equally worthy just because. Now, imagine if you could take that ethic and actualize it in our politics.
That's right.
That everybody then has access to an equal high quality education.
That's right.
To your point, everybody then is breathing clean air.
That's right.
I wish we could ever get to that sort of, I gave a speech one time about whatever happened to the notion of love in our public discourse. Because King put love in the public discourse.
Right.
Gandhi put love in the public discourse.
That's all right.
Whatever happened to the notion of love in our public discourse, we could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, but Bell Hooks
Oh,
writes
yeah, Bell
in
Hooks,
her
yes,
All
yes,
About
yes,
Love
yes.
book. She talks
Yes.
about this transition that happened after King and Coretta Scott King, and after folks turned the movement into something about your own individual progress. It became about your own resources. It became about your own growth. It became about your own degrees. It turned into your individual benefit. But the community got left behind as some folks got $10 above dinner.
You're preaching.
And it's like, wait a minute. You got to remember, my grandmama's always told me, God rest their souls, never forget where you come from. When you always remember the people who prayed, the people who suffered, the people who sacrificed, the people who died, the people who contributed, you realize that they only kept moving forward because they loved the possibility that you would be able to inherit a different world. You'd be able to inherit a different community. You'd be able to inherit a different country. So in this moment and in this time, I love the unborn children who will be born in the United States of America so much that, yeah, I'm willing to get expelled for it. I'm willing to march for it. I'm willing to protest for it. I'm willing to speak for it. And we all have to give everything that we can in this moment from the core and the center of our hearts. And what I know about love is this: you can't buy it on the New York Stock Exchange.
Hello.
So you don't got to worry about Donald Trump and all those folks. The shareholders of ExxonMobil.
It's not a commodity.
It's not a commodity.
It's not a commodity
that they can take from you.
Yes,
it's not
sir.
a commodity
Yes, sir.
that they can buy. It's something that is rooted deep within who
Speak
we
on
are,
it.
and that is more powerful than anything else in the world.
I love this. I love this brother right here.
I love
wish,
you.
I wish we had more time. He's got a full schedule here, but I'm just so honored and on board. I've been at this a long time, and I've been blessed to talk to pretty much everybody over the course of my career. And when I see these young voices who come on the scene and they have this richness to them, this rootedness in the best of our tradition. Somebody once said that every race ought to be judged by the best they've produced, never by the worst. And you, Justin J. Pearson, are the best that our people have produced. And we are so proud of you, brother. I don't mean to be paternalistic about that, but we are so proud, again, of your courage and your conviction and your commitment and what you stand for in the great state of Tennessee. So we are honored to have you come by. I know you got a full schedule. I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I just love you.
And there ain't nothing you can do about it.
There you go. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
You are indeed. What an amazing, amazing conversation that was with Representative Justin J. Pearson of Tennessee. As I said earlier, you recall that story a year or so ago, those two Justins who got ran out of the State House for standing their ground on the issue of guns, gun violence. They ran those two brothers out, and thankfully they found their way back into the State House. Both named Justin. One named Justin Jones, the other named Justin Pearson. As I said, one's got a ponytail, one's got an afro, but they both love black people and all of humanity. And what a great honor it was to have Justin J. Pearson on this program. I am pleased now and honored as always to be in dialogue with my friend and brother. I say it all the time in his presence. I say all the time when he's not around. He is one of the best writers, one of the foremost truth tellers in this country, senior writer at Nation, The Nation magazine. The Nation had a wonderful event on Sunday night, and I was so hurt. You heard me talking earlier to A.B. Burns Tucker, one of those 200 social media people that they brought into the convention this year to cover this convention for that generation that taps into social media every day. So A.B. and I just had a difficulty getting here. A.B. was on that plane. Van Jones from CNN, my friend Van, was on the plane. We were supposed to leave L.A. Sunday morning at 7 a.m., didn't get out of L.A. until Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And I was on my way to Chicago because there was a huge event honoring Jesse Jackson Sr. Sunday night that was sponsored by The Nation magazine, and the host of that program is our friend and brother, our guest right now, John Nichols. John, good to see you, my friend.
It's so good. It's rare I can actually tap you on the shoulder.
I know you're always on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm in L.A. and you're somewhere around the world on the phone.
Someplace.
Tell me for starters how the celebration. I had Jesse Jr. call into the program on Monday, my first day here, to give us a quick update about how that thing went on Sunday night. But I want you to start by thanking the Nation for kicking off this entire week of the DNC, as it should have been kicked off with a celebration of Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. Tell me how that thing went on Sunday.
It was magic. Yep. It was everything it should be.
Everybody was there, man.
Everybody was there except you, and,
I missed it.
we were going to bring you up if we got you.
Don't remind me, man.
But
I missed it, man.
But I tell you, you know what? We had so many people there that it was kind of okay. You weren't because we had it was overflow.
I wouldn't have got my 3 minutes anyway.
Oh, you got your 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll tell you, I looked out at that crowd at one point. The whole full, Operation Push headquarters full up. And I looked out at all those people, and I, had a little bit of control of the program, not much, because it was like a roller coaster. But, and I saw Congressman Al Green from down in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there in the front row, and I'm thinking, he's not on the program. He's not, he just came because he wanted to be there. There were a ton of members of Congress, others who just came because they wanted to be there.
Give Jesse his flowers, man.
They did. So and Reverend Jackson was sitting right there in front, taking it all in so beautifully. But I said to Al Green, I literally said from the microphone, I cannot have an event without bringing Al Green up for at least to say something.
Yeah.
No preparation, brought the house down,
Yeah.
right, with this beautiful reflection. And the reason I tell you that is that everyone we brought up had some amazing, they had thought about it.
Yeah.
And they had some amazing reflection on how Jesse Jackson brought them here.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And the most incredible one, which was unexpected, was Ro Khanna, who's a congressman from California, brilliant congressman,
Sure.
very young.
Yeah.
And he, I had him there, and he had said, I got a few things I want to say, just give me an introduction. So he goes up, and he says, I know I'm supposed to talk about technology and future work, stuff like that, all his areas. He represents Silicon Valley.
He sure does.
He says, I want to talk about being a 13-year-old kid growing up in Pennsylvania, and being the darker skinned kid on the playground. Wasn't always treated so well. And I remember hearing about this black man who was running for president of the United States, and I wrote a paper on him. And I remember how amazing that was. I'm not doing him justice in telling the story, but he says how amazing it was for me. It was sort of like, wow, maybe I could go into politics. And he's thinking, here's this, a wholly different world, different experience. And one after another, that's what we heard. And the conclusion, of course, brilliantly, was Senator Bernie Sanders, who literally said, without Reverend Jesse Jackson, there's not a President Barack Obama.
There is not.
Without Reverend Jesse Jackson, there's not a Vice President Kamala Harris. And then he concluded and said, and without Reverend Jesse Jackson, there's not a President Kamala Harris. Now, in that context of this convention, I can't think of a better way to start the week.
Yep. I've made this point many times to this audience, so this is not something they are hearing for the first time. Just to put a finer point on that, that's just not hyperbole that Bernie Sanders is speaking. That's factual.
Oh, yeah.
When Jesse Jackson runs in 84, Jesse Jackson runs in 88. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you something funny. I can't pull it out fast enough, but I brought my Jesse Jackson 84 and 88 buttons.
Oh, I had mine on. I was wearing mine.
You were wearing it?
I wore one at the event.
I was going to try to upstage you.
No, I had one on all through the whole event. I had but my problem was that my 84 one, which I have from 84, it was a big one. It didn't look so good on the jacket, so I did wear an 88 one.
I bought the big one. I was going to put it on, man, and wear my button at the Jesse Jackson thing Sunday night.
You would have looked great.
Yeah, but the thing is that Bernie Sanders is right, though, because when Jesse runs in 84, Jesse runs in 88, it is Jesse Jackson, as you know, who changes the rules of this party. We saw Barack Obama on stage last night. We'll see Kamala Harris on stage tomorrow night. Bernie's right. Without Jesse, there is no Barack, there is no Kamala. But let me put a finer point on that. For those who don't know the backstory here, and I mentioned earlier, we're, in addition to my regular affiliates that carry this program every day, there are 25 plus stations that are carrying us just this week.
Feeling empowered.
So yes, I'm grateful for all these stations that are carrying our special programming this week, urban stations all across the country. So they may not have heard me say this, but my core audience has heard me say it repeatedly, that Jesse changes the rules from winner take all to proportional voting. If the rules of winner take all were still in place when Hillary and Barack ran against each other, you know where I'm going.
I do.
Hillary would have been the nominee and not Barack Obama. Because Jesse's argument was, if I run in California and I win 40% of the vote and Michael Dukakis wins 60, how does Michael Dukakis take all the delegates?
Well, and sometimes, let's be honest, let's be clear here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it wasn't 60-40, sometimes it was 51-49.
That's exactly
It was very close.
That's right.
And here you are disempowering half the people.
That's right. So Jesse said that winner-take-all strategy does not work, and he fought for proportional voting, that you take what you win. If you win it, you take it. And so then the math changes. Jesse didn't say this then, as we say these days, the math wasn't mathing. The math wasn't mathing. And Jesse understood that. He changed the rules. And they were able to force that change because Jesse also brought a guy named Ron Brown in to be the chair of the DNC. The first black to ever run, African-American to ever run the Democratic National Committee was a brother named Ron Brown, died tragically in a plane crash. For those who weren't around then, he was the Commerce Secretary when he died in the Clinton administration.
And he was a floor manager for the Reverend Jackson.
That's exactly right.
Along with Steve Cobble, who was a delegate counter.
That's right.
And James Ogby, who we had on Sunday.
I saw him on
These
there,
people who really did this thing. And as long as we're here, and we have the time, not a lot of time, but we'll
Go
take
for
it
it,
well.
go for it.
Let's go for the deep dive.
Go for it.
Why did Reverend Jesse Jackson get that? Why did he get the rules? Because he was a black man who had seen Southern politics. He knew about runoffs. He knew how when you got voting rights, right, in all these Southern states, then they started doing all these runoffs, right? And so what would happen is the black candidate would actually get the most votes maybe in a primary, and then they'd have the runoff so that then they could get all the votes collected against and knock them out.
That's right.
And so Jesse Jackson uniquely, I would argue, among people who run for president in recent decades, understood how the rules mattered as much as the campaign. And so he put key people in there. They fought brutal battles.
That's right.
And there was that 88 convention where he gave one of the greatest speeches in history, although I'm partial to the 84 convention speech
It was a good one, 84. Yeah,
both
were
were
great.
brilliant.
Yeah,
But let me tell you about one thing about that 88 convention.
Yeah.
You look at all the things that are on the table today, right? Everything on the table today. You could trace it all back there. What did Reverend Jesse Jackson do at that convention? He says, you know what? We're going to talk about the West Bank and Gaza.
Yeah.
I mean, people can't see us, but I'm sitting
That's
here
right.
going, come
No,
on,
exactly.
take this in.
Mouth wide open, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And about ending poverty.
Yep.
Right? About the people who are on the bus going
That's
to work
right.
before dawn.
That's right.
And there's one last thing, which is the biggest thing, as much as those rule changes, he said, you know what? There are tens of millions of people who are Democrats, or at least lean Democrats, who don't vote. And so instead of going after that mythical swing voter, right, that person who can't decide between Trump and Harris or whatever, instead of doing that, shouldn't we be mobilizing all those people who don't usually vote? And he transformed how the Democratic Party thought about mobilization. So we say, you just said correctly, wouldn't have a Barack Obama, wouldn't have a Kamala Harris. Let's also say we wouldn't have a Bill Clinton.
That's exactly right.
There's, in fact, in a whole bunch of senators.
That's right.
Because those mobilizations.
That's right.
Right. So here we go, Jesse Jackson.
And here's the other thing, too, and I'm not trying to bash Barack Obama or anybody else. Barack Obama never had coattails. He won the presidency, not once but twice, but he never had black coattails. Follow me on this. Jesse had coattails in 84. He had bigger coattails in 88. Both times that Jesse ran, a whole bunch of black folk all across the country got elected. Jesse didn't, but he got half of black folk in America elected in 84 and 88 because they followed his coattails, the enthusiasm and the excitement of his race. Am I telling the truth?
You're telling the truth pretty much, although I will give Barack Obama, who gave an amazing speech last night.
Amazing.
I'll give Barack Obama credit that he did have some coattails in unexpected places in 2008.
Yep.
He probably elected, several senators.
Yep.
Right? But
that's why I said specifically black coattails.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
because
got it,
they were
got
in
it.
places like, there was like Al Franken in Minnesota.
That's right.
Right. But here's another thing. If we're going deep, let's go.
Go for it.
Okay, ready?
Go for it.
All right, let's go. Democratic Party does not get its act together very often. They might do it this year. They don't get it together very often. I'll tell you what happened in 1988. Jesse Jackson, as R.W. Apple from the New York Times said, it was the year of Jackson, right? I mean, he was the electric figure. He transformed our politics. He did so much. You get to that Democratic National Convention. They look out across America. What can we do? What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. They got Michael Dukakis running for president. Not the most exciting figure in history. Good man, 90 years old now. So
The tank killed him.
yeah, I didn't do him any good.
That tank. Yeah,
Okay,
Go ahead.
so they had a chance to pick a vice presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Right? They could have picked Jesse Jackson and sent him out to mobilize.
That's right.
Right? They could have launched the mobilization then rather than what he did in the years after, where every year they'd send him out to get people voting. They could have had him as the vice president. Here's what I will tell you. I don't know if they would have won the presidency in 88, but they would have won more states. They would have won more states.
Oh, yeah.
Democratic Party would have been in a better position politically.
Totally agree.
And instead they picked Lloyd Benson, the most boring man in the Senate.
Yeah.
He
He did have one great line.
greatest line ever.
Greatest line
in a
ever.
debate.
Senator,
Yeah.
I knew Jack Kennedy. And you are no Jack Kennedy.
You completely ended. But you know what? With all due respect, it didn't take that much to end Dan Quayle's.
Dan Quayle's, exactly.
Whereas I will go back and say, and I've said this often, written it, that had they chosen Jesse Jackson in '88 to be the vice presidential candidate, I think our politics today would be different.
Yeah. To your point, I was in the Democratic Party. Let me just keep it real, because that's who I am. That's who John Nichols is. We're inside the Democratic convention. I may have to whisper this, not say it too loud. But John said a moment ago, Democrats oftentimes don't get their act together. They may this time, but and Areva Martin, our guest earlier in the first hour, said the same thing. Democrats know how to win elections, but God knows they know how to lose elections. Jesse, speaking of Jesse, one of my favorite Jesse lines, I know all of them. Up with hope and down with dope. Put hope in your brain, not dope in your vein. From the outhouse to the White House, hands that pick cotton when I'll pick a president. You know about Pennsylvania Avenue, but you don't know about Cheney Street. Born in the slum, but the slum wasn't born in me. I campaigned with Jesse 84 and 88. I loved all Jesse's lines. But one of the great lines of Jesse Jackson is that we lose, talking to black people, we lose too many elections by the margin of our absence at the polls. That's Jesse Jackson. That we lose too many elections by the margin of our absence at the polls. Many of you saw Jesse in the hall on Monday night. So that Parkinson's is ravaging his body, no question about it. But I was just honored and delighted to see him in this hall on Monday evening. But to your point about Democrats not often getting their act together, it's the same Democrats who, Al Gore particularly, who told Jesse, you recall, to stay out of Florida. Oh, yeah. They didn't want, Jesse was like, let me go in. We need to recount Broward County. Let me get in there. They didn't. The wrong counties got counted. The hanging chads and all that stuff. They didn't do the recount in the right place because Al Gore didn't want race on this election had he wanted. Even though a black woman named Donna Brazile was running his campaign, Al Gore from Tennessee wanted to stay away from race. We just talked to Justin Pearson, but Al Gore wanted to stay away from it. Contrast that with Joe Biden, who has wrapped himself in black people.
Yes.
And who will always say historically, I was the vice president to the first black president, and I made it possible for the second black president.
Beautiful line.
Isn't that a great line?
It's a beautiful
if she can pull this off.
And here, let me give you one other thing about that. This is something, when you open that door up, right? You open that door up and say, you know what, I'm bringing black people. I'm not going to fool around. This is real here now. You know what you usually do? And this is what the rainbow is all about. This is what Jesse Jackson is, because black people have for so long been denied.
That's right.
And have survived and have thrived and have built political power, right? So that when you let black folks in, then you are also letting in Latinos.
That's right.
And women and union members, right? So we keep hearing, well, with Joe Biden, he's the best union president since FDR, maybe ever. Well, why is that? Part of that is because this guy has decided, I'm getting beyond the basic format, right? I'm getting beyond the basic template. And once you start to do that, and I think opening the door to black voters, black elected officials, this community, it does so much for everything else. Now, the question here at this convention, this is a great challenge here at this convention, is how they do it all.
Well, that question, that is the question. How do they do it all? How do they do it at this convention? You can tweak that a variety of ways. Can Kamala build the coalition that Obama built? Can she build the coalition that Jesse built? That's John's question. It's a brilliant one. How do they do it all, underline that word, at this convention? We'll tackle that question with John Nichols of The Nation magazine when we come forward. We're also going to be joined by James Clyburn. Speaking of long-standing black elected officials, James Clyburn joins us as well in this next half hour. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kamala Harris briefly spoke after she was made the official Democratic nominee of this year's election. She clinched the nomination during the Democratic National Convention Tuesday. Changes are coming to a classic Disneyland ride. The Southern California park is updating its classic Peter Pan ride by removing insensitive racial stereotypes and caricatures of indigenous people. Donald Trump says he would consider Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for a role in his administration. Tuesday, the former president spoke with reporters following a campaign event in Michigan where he said he likes and respects RFK and probably would consider him for a job with the administration if Trump wins. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to expresspros.com to find the location near you. That's expresspros.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Jason Hayward hit a 3-1 pinch hit homer in the 8th inning Tuesday night to spark the Dodgers to a comfort behind win over Seattle. Hayward came off the bench to hit a grand slam at Colorado on June 19th. The Angels snapped a 3-game losing streak with a win at Kansas City. The Angels are tied with Oakland for last place in the AL West. The LA Sparks losing streak is now at 5 after Tuesday's loss at Connecticut. At 6-22, the Sparks are tied with the Washington Mystics for the worst record in the WNBA. Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank is giving a $1.5 million grant to 4 HBCU schools to help them upgrade their football fields for games and practices. Clark Atlanta University, Albany State, Savannah State, and Miles College each will receive $1.5 million from Blank's Foundation. The grants are part of the NFL's new HBCU field refurbishment program. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text LION to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text LION to 42424. That's LION to 42424.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
with Tavis, Smiley, and the nation's John Nichols. What a rich, rich, rich dialogue this is. I was just saying to John that, and I say this with humility, but there are all kinds of conversations happening all around me. I can assure you, ain't nobody just spent 20 minutes talking about Jesse Jackson and his impact on this convention, his impact on Barack Obama and Kamala Harris, and the conversation we just had. I hope you appreciate and value, because you're not getting these kinds of conversations here inside this hall. And I ain't mad at anybody else, but I just think that you can't celebrate history without regarding history. And so we can't talk about Obama, Barack and Michelle last night, or Kamala tomorrow night, and not understand that they're part of a continuum. They're part of a storyline. Barack Obama said it best many years ago, that each of us has to get our paragraph right. That's his line. We got to get our paragraph right in history. And so I celebrate the paragraph that we are in right now. I celebrate what was going to happen in this hall tomorrow night. But we got to get the narrative right. And speaking of getting the narrative right, one who always does that is our friend and brother Cornel West. I saw Dr. West last night for dinner. He's going to come in this hall tomorrow. And he said, Brother Tavis, what should I expect? I said, Dr. West, I do not know. You are an independent candidate for president. You're my dearest friend in the world, but you're an independent candidate for president. You're coming inside the DNC into the media center. I suspect that everybody will want to talk to you tomorrow. You're going to get a whole lot of interviews for the few hours that you will be in the building. He'll be on this program tomorrow, of course. He's going to be in this media center tomorrow, and everybody will be grabbing at Cornel West, independent for president, to see what he has to say about this convention, about this moment inside their house. But he was with you Sunday night at the Jesse Jackson thing, was he not?
He delivered extraordinary remarks.
Yeah.
And he didn't deliver them as a candidate.
Yeah.
That's one of the hard things about being a candidate for president, by the way, right? Because especially in moments like this, some people are really mad at you for running, some are not, blah, 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 the whole bit. He got up there and he spoke deeply from his heart about the role that the Reverend Jesse Jackson has played. And I saw people who were deeply committed Democrats who are not going to vote for Cornel West.
Sure.
Who were applauding because of the grace and the wisdom. And I'm going to tell you something. This is an important thing. This is certainly not Cornel West's first Democratic National Convention. Remember, he was a Bradley delegate, Bill Bradley delegate back in 2000. He really believed that Bill Bradley had the potential to bridge some of these gaps that we struggle with, and also believed that Bradley would do better as a presidential candidate.
In that sense, he's always been an outsider. I mean, he
goes in and out.
He speaks his truth. He goes in and out. He supported Bill Bradley. He supported Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
And we all know he supported Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah. Really strongly.
Big Bernie supporter.
So that's one
and he supported Barack Obama.
Yes, he did.
So to your point, he's gone in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, and he done a lot, and sometimes in the same year. Yeah. And I think this is what I was going to say about him. A little story on it is that I was at the LA convention in 2000, and he voted for Bradley. And then I saw him walking out, and he said, and I said, what's up now? And he said, I done my part.
Yeah.
I came to vote for Bill Bradley. Happened that year, he went out on the trail with Ralph Nader.
Yep, he did.
And no, many people are going to be mad about that. I understand. I respect people who differ on all this. But what I'll tell you is, this is the dynamic of Cornel West. He comes in when he believes he can achieve something. He goes out when he believes he can achieve something. And I've watched him for a very, very long time politically. I don't, frankly, think the story of his role even this year is necessarily told. Yeah. We'll see where it all ends up.
Well, I can tell you this.
And so your conversation tomorrow could be a very newsworthy conversation.
Well, I can tell you this. The Democrats are pushing really hard to get him to stand down. And they were hoping that he'd stand down this week and endorse Kamala. And I don't want to speak out of school, but I can tell you with some confidence that had he decided to stand down this week and endorse Kamala Harris, he would have been on stage at this convention. But that has not been his decision, and we'll ask him about that tomorrow.
Very interesting.
Yeah, you said a moment ago, and we're waiting on James Clyburn to show up. We'll get to him whenever he does.
Absolutely.
But I could talk to John Nichols for hours. But James Clyburn coming up here momentarily, I think. You said a moment ago, the question is, can they do it all at this convention?
Yep.
Unpack that.
It's not hard to unpack, brother, and you know it. You know exactly what I'm saying. It is insufficient, dramatically insufficient, to just win the presidency and to win it narrowly, because you know how Donald Trump's going to respond to that, right? And so this convention has a duty to create a vision and a trajectory that is about winning the presidency by a big margin. And I mean, so there's nobody questioning, that Kamala Harris won. And here's where it gets really significant. I know everybody loves swing states. They all love battleground states. Oh, with all due respect, I want Tim Walz and Kamala Harris to go to Kansas. I want them to go to Mississippi. I know they don't have time to do it all the time. I don't want to kill their schedule. But what needs to happen in America is a genuine 50-state strategy, so you run that popular vote up, not winning by 7 million, but winning by 15 million.
Yep.
And then what happens is, a state like Missouri, where Lucas Kunz is running against Josh Hawley, right? Maybe Harris and Walz don't carry Missouri, although Barack Obama almost did. But maybe they'd run those numbers up sufficiently that a Democratic candidate can get across that line to be a senator.
Yep.
This is about competing for power. This is about defining whether you're going to be able to govern. And one of the great things about Joe Biden was he governed as best he could with all the barriers that were in front of him.
Yeah.
But he didn't get everywhere he needed to go.
Yeah.
And so when I say do it all, that is massive mobilization of black voters, massive outreach and mobilization of Latinx voters, massive outreach and mobilization of young voters. And don't stop at state borders, right? Go for that national mobilization.
It's a wise strategy. Howard Dean, as you know, talked famously about a 50-state strategy when he was chair of this party, the Democratic Party. We are here in Chicago inside the United Center. I tell you, here's my nightmare scenario.
Okay.
I've said any number of times, I want to see how you're processing this. I've said repeatedly, and you now don't disagree on this, Kamala is going to crush Donald Trump in the popular vote. I hear your point. If they do what you just suggested, they can run those numbers even higher.
And I think that has meaning. Can I just interrupt you?
Please,
and then I'm going to go right back with you.
No.
But let me interrupt you and say, because if you run a 50-state strategy as best you can, and that means move a little of the money around, move a little bit of the time around, then people in places like Oklahoma, Mississippi, pick your states, right? Wyoming, they say, I maybe I'm not a big Kamala Harris fan, but I do know that she can't. I know that they had a campaign going here.
Right.
They got a lot of votes here, right? So suddenly, if Trump tries to challenge it, he looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because people see the wholeness of it.
Yeah.
And this is my point about why you want to run that popular vote in states you win, and even in states that you may narrowly lose.
Yep. I'll tweak one thing when you say if he tries to challenge it. There won't be no if. he is going to challenge it, and that gets me back to my nightmare. My nightmare scenario is that Kamala crushes him in the popular vote, but the Electoral College is really close. And you know what happens then? If Trump is on the lesser side of that Electoral College vote, he will implement his strategy where his sycophants in states across the country do not certify the votes. They don't certify the votes, number one, because each state has to certify state by state. In the states that he has a stronghold, they will not certify. There'll be lawsuits out the yin-yang. And this thing on November the 6th will not really be over. The question is, how close is this race on the 5th? And that determines how ugly it's going to get on the 6th. It's going to be ugly either way.
Exactly.
I don't care how bad he loses, he's going to declare that he didn't lose. We know that already. But if this thing is close, even inside the margin of error, it's going to get ugly.
And if I can throw one more element on this, Donald Trump, he had a measure of understanding of Biden.
Right.
He clearly hasn't wrapped his head around Kamala Harris.
Not yet.
And it could get, I think that could bring an even deeper level of ugliness.
It's going to get ugly, man.
Yeah.
He don't want to lose to a black woman. That's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly if she doesn't win this thing in a landslide. And so let's talk about that. I am told we've got Congressman James Clyburn with us. When we come forward, we'll get right to him. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking.
That's what we do around here.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
call your senior Medicare patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Hey LA, today I'm here to talk to you about Grid Alternatives, which is a nonprofit in LA that focuses on renewable energy. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We offer paid job training, and in 13 weeks, you can become a solar installer. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry, and once you're hired in the industry, you stop at a high, medium income. That could be $20 an hour or more. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry. Call today so you don't be left out at 323-861-0105 or gridalternatives.org, gridalternatives.org.
Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in,
but we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed. I'm honored once again to be joined by our friend and brother, the Dean, the Congressman from South Carolina, James Clyburn. Congressman, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you today?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing remarkably well, but let me ask you how you're feeling right about now, Congressman.
I have a very positive feeling about this campaign. I think that Kamala Harris is acquitting herself very well as the nominee of our party. She accepted the nomination last night. I think that we will see our VP nominee tonight, and we'll hear from her tomorrow night. I think that the speeches last night by the Obamas, most especially the one by Michelle Obama, was one of the most effective and I think instructive speeches I've ever heard at a convention like this. Obama did well himself 20 years ago, but what she did last night, I think, was a blueprint for us to follow as we conduct ourselves over these next several weeks trying to win this presidency.
When you say a blueprint, what specifically are you referencing, Congressman Clyburn?
Well, she laid out there exactly what is bugging Trump. She talked about most Americans not being able to inherit wealth and not being able to declare bankruptcy and get the bankruptcy protections that this man has gotten over the years, and not being able to be a part of the legal process like he is, with 34 convictions hanging over his head. Mm-hmm. I think she told us all we need to do to go out and run an effective campaign. And I'm saying these are the surrogates now. I think that we have to free up our candidate to prosecute the case in a visionary way, leaning into the future. Some are saying moving forward. That's fine. I'm saying we got to lean into the future. That's not to say you don't take into account the past. You got to do that, but you don't dwell in it.
No, I hear you. Let me do this. I'm watching my clock. I got a few minutes left with Congressman James Clyburn when we come forward. This is Tavis Smiley. I'm glad to have you tuned in. Congressman, seated next to me is the great reporter John Nichols from The Nation magazine. And to your point about how to campaign effectively this time around, John, do this. Why don't you tee up the question that we want Congressman Clyburn to answer, and when we come forward, we'll give him a chance to do that. Give us the question, though.
The question's a simple one. This congressman has put South Carolina on the map. He has put other southern states on the map. Is there a vision, when we talk about campaigning in a different way, is there a vision for this campaign, this Harris-Walz campaign, to enlarge that map, to go do the swing states, don't forget them, but start looking for new swing states, new places where Democrats can win?
The last presidential candidate in this country to campaign in all 50 states. Here's some history for you. You heard James Clyburn talk about history a moment ago. The last president to campaign in all 50 states in this country was who?
Richard Nixon in 1960.
Richard Nixon in 1960, the last one to go to all 50 states. So we'll get James Clyburn's take on what an effective strategy looks like this time around. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Always night pads are designed for a perfect night's sleep, so you can do your bear hugging a pillow thing, your free falling starfish thing, your burritoed in a blanket with the AC blasting thing. While Always night pads with rapid dry do their we've got your back with fast absorbency and up to 10 hours of protection thing. So while your period's doing its own thing, Always lets you do your sleep thing. Shop for Always in-store or online, wherever you get your pads.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Back to Tavis Smiley and our friend and brother James Clyburn. So the question, Congressman Clyburn, I got about 4 minutes left here with you. You heard me say a moment ago with John Nichols here that the last candidate for president in this country to ever campaign in all 50 states was Richard Nixon back in 1960. Clearly, that's not an easy thing to do, but you are the brilliant strategist here. What kind of 50-state campaign strategy do you see that would be effective for Kamala Harris and Governor Walz this time around?
Well, thank you very much for the question. Nicholas John is one of my favorites. I just want him to know that. However, what he just told us in 1960, I could not vote in 1960. I was a college student, and back then you had to be 21 to vote. And I was 20 years old at the time, so I could not vote. But I was very, very much involved in that campaign. In October 1960, that campaign, if you recall, I was with John Lewis down at Morehouse College. Martin Luther King Jr. Went to jail the week after that meeting that we had with him in 1960. And I said all to say this. The campaign came up. The election came up 3 weeks after we were there. And you remember who won? Nixon may have gone in all 50, all that done in every state. However, he lost the election. John F. Kennedy won that election because he campaigned very effectively in the states he did campaign in, most especially Illinois, where we're sitting now, because that was the difference in his winning and losing the president's election in 1960. So we can get into every state in this day and time without having to bottle it go to every state. So I'm not advocating going to every state, but I do believe you ought to have a 50-state strategy. Jamie Harrison and I work very closely with the former chair to develop a 50-state strategy, and we will have a 50-state strategy, but it will not be sending the candidate to all 50 states.
Yep. So here's my extra question, Congressman. My sense is, and I'm sure you and I agree here, she's going to get a bump out of this convention. My sense is that bump will push her even further past Donald Trump for the moment. But you've been at this a long time, sir. It's going to get ugly between now and November. Is she peaking too soon? Can she maintain this momentum between now and November?
I think we can maintain this momentum. Here's the thing, though. I want you all to keep in mind, Donald Trump commanded all the mechanisms of government back in 2021. He will not command that this time. A lot of people can get to know the Joe Biden I know. If he tries to pull that stuff off in this next election, Joe Biden's going to be in charge of everything. And Joe Biden will do with the National Guard what Eisenhower did to Faubus back during the Little Rock Nine. When Faubus brought out the National Guard to carry out his wishes, Eisenhower deputized every one of them and took them over. Joe Biden is not going to let Donald Trump steal this election. He's not going to let them be successful with their foolishness. He's going to be in charge of the entire mechanism. He will control the National Guard. He will control the military, and he will preserve this democracy at any cost.
The congressman has spoken. I'm out of time, but I don't need much more time after hearing that. The congressman has spoken, and there you have it. Congressman Clyburn, sir, always an honor to have you in this program. I appreciate you, man. You stay strong, my friend.
Okay, but I will. Thank you very much.
All right. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kamala Harris briefly spoke after she was made the official Democratic nominee of this year's election.